What's up, race fans, and welcome to another episode of the Pecino Report. This is season 2021 episode. It's episode 19. Oh my God! Finally, we've made it to episode 19. That's right, you guessed it. It's the Lorenzo Dalla Porta episode. Indeed, the most famous ever. Number 19. No, really? No, I don't. Well, we could have picked Alvaro Bautista. We could have picked Freddie Spencer, but we're here just for you to bring you Lorenzo Dalla Porta. Indeed. What a crazy weekend of racing we've just had at this amazing place right here. That's right. Some of those riders, they were on fire. Literally, not figuratively. Is the Red Bull Ring safe? Is it not safe? Who knows? How about we find out from the master himself? Before we do that, let's go and say hi to my wonderful co-host, Andra. So I think you've seen four races at the Red Bull Ring, and every single one of them has been red flagged. What do you think?
I think that it's not a track problem. I think it was a freak of nature problem, because we saw Maverick bailed off with no brakes, and there was fire last year when he had to dismount and his bike blew up on the fence.
That's right. It was in turn one. Yeah,
that wasn't the track's fault. We had Zarco hit the back of Frankie. That wasn't the track's fault. That was Zarco's fault.
It definitely wasn't the track's fault.
And obviously the horrible fiery crash this weekend. Yep. I don't think it's the track. That's my personal opinion. I think it's just
nice. So you've got to be disappointed if there's no red flag this weekend?
Oh, bloody oath. Of course.
Indeed. And boss, over to you. You're in Austria at the moment. I can see you've got a Labrador over your shoulder there and some wonderful scenery.
You know, the pirates have, how do you say, papagayo here?
Yeah,
I have a dog on my shoulder.
Indeed.
Those people that are listening and not watching, Manuel's sitting in front of a window with a sticker, and it looks like there's a Labrador. Yep. It looks like it's licking his ear actually in the background.
Looks like he's in the doghouse. And look at that beautiful view at the back there. That is absolutely. Goodness. See, my view behind me is fake, obviously. His is real.
Mine's real.
This is why the boss doesn't pay for our allowances to go to places like that.
No. Okay, let's start. First, I have to say that I am impressed with Andra's statement, with decision, she has a clear idea, and this is wonderful. She might be right or not, but she has it clear.
And I didn't speak from my ovaries, I spoke from fact.
Exactly.
And I am proud of you.
Thank you, Manuel.
Wonderful.
Sí, señor. Sí, señor.
Yeah, amazing. So look, boss, before we get into the actual racing itself, the weekend was clearly, I won't say overshadowed, I'll say foreshadowed, because in the lead up to the weekend, nobody was talking about the racing. Nobody was talking about Sunday. Everybody was talking about one thing, weren't they? They were talking about VR46. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, wow. You can imagine Italy was on fire,
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if it was funny. Look, but let me tell you something before starting. I want to tell you something about Lorenzo Dalla Porta.
Yeah.
Who?
The patron of the episode. Unofficially sponsored by Lorenzo Dalla Porta.
And because in Italy, and it's the riders, when they are called Lorenzo, they hate to be called Lorenzo, because Jorge Lorenzo is like the Antichrist for the Italians,
Yeah.
So Baldassarri, when you call Baldassarri Lorenzo, for example, he said, Lorenzo, no, Balda, I am Balda. So, and Dalla Porta, the same, they don't want their name. They refuse to be called by their name. And only because Lorenzo has been the arch-rival of Valentino.
Of course.
Amazing.
Wow.
So
crazy.
Talking about Valentino, well, you can imagine. Look, I write for an Italian magazine, and every weekend I have to write around 30 pages of that magazine.
Wow.
For the race, they left 4. All the rest was Valentino.
Rossi.
Rossi's career, Rossi, I don't know, Morbidelli, what is going to happen? Rossi, I am Motogp. Rossi, I wrote about Rossi. I could, because they were telling me, write another story. I said, I've said everything already.
Could you dig up old
nothing
ones?
left.
Can you get old ones and just rewrite a couple of things?
It was horrible. Then I went through all the career. I had to look through all the biography, the details, the high moments, the low moments. So what a mess. So, and And I thought, okay, then when I saw and we saw what happened in the race, I could have filled out another 30 pages because
Exactly.
so many things happened, you know?
Mhm.
Okay, so regarding the Valentino announcement, I have to say, despite not being a surprise, because more or less we all expected something soon, more soon than late,
Yeah.
sooner than later. For the Italians, it was like a drama. Okay, it was like the
End of the world.
Everything's a drama for the Italians.
yeah, and it was funny because between all the Italians, the less affected was Valentino.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
in this, in
I
this
like how
situation,
his English version was like, I'm going to stop. That's all he said in English. He's just like, I'm going to stop. It's okay.
but it's funny because in these occasions, we see people cry, you know, like we saw Messi the other day when he's leaving the Barcelona
Was it
Football
Agostini?
Club.
He said he cried for 3 days. Was it him?
Probably, but
Yeah,
Valentino,
so-
did you see one tear coming out of Valentino's eye? No,
He was just
because the drama will happen in Valencia. Because the following day he was sitting on the bike racing. So Valentino did it. You know. So I think in Valencia, when he crosses the finish line, then I think even some little drop will come out of my.
I think so. I think so for all of us.
That's
End
the
of an
moment.
era.
Even me
that's the moment.
In my MotoGP infancy, like I'm pretty much an embryo in all of this. I actually had because I just went, oh yeah, you know, we're expecting this, and then I went, oh my God, Phillip Island's cancelled. We are not allowed to travel. I'm never going to see him race. I'm never going to see him. And I actually had a very, very like moment.
That's okay. You'll see him in 2022 at the Suzuka 8 Hour. That's my tip.
Yes.
Wow, that would be nice. Well, he's going. Well, let me tell you something. What Valentino and Dorna has delivered with this is that all the next races will be farewell for Valentino.
And they're pretty much fully. Oh, they're still
Spit it out, woman.
There's going to be lots of people there.
No, embryos. It's two embryos talk like this.
Yeah, apparently they do.
I've only had 2 mouthfuls of beer. It was all the emotion.
Yeah. Well, I asked immediately. I asked Dorna about which races will be open to spectators.
That's what I was
and they told me that at this moment, all but Malaysia. Malaysia will not happen. But it's another chapter we talk later about Malaysia not happening.
Put a pin in that. Yep.
Imagine that what will be Aragon, Silverstone, it will be a yellow track. You know, people will flow yellow there. Okay. And can you imagine what Misano will be?
There's going to be tears and shit everywhere.
It's going to be mental.
Yeah. Hang on. My son is calling.
Okay.
because if you don't know, today's my birthday, by the way.
Oh, what? Really? Oh my goodness! Manuel! Happy birthday, man! That's amazing.
That's why I'm getting so much. Is
that why the bank? Is that why the bank was calling you?
They want to give you the check.
Manuel, it's your birthday.
Birthday check. My birthday check.
Oh man, was it Felicia? What? How'd you say happy birthday in Spanish?
Felicidades.
Oh. Yeah. I was like, is Italian happy birthday or something?
Happy birthday.
In Italian, it's auguri. Yesterday, it was Carlo Pernat's birthday.
There you go. You share a birthday with some very cool people. Man, you should have told us earlier. We could have made it the birthday episode.
How do we not know this?
Number 19, my birthday, my age.
Happy birthday, Manuel.
19. just your age, indeed. But yeah,
I am drinking something that
not good, not for your birthday.
Stu knows. This is apple spritz.
Apple spritz. Yeah. Genau. Yeah, indeed. Make sure you get yourself something heavier before the end of the day.
I have something in the fridge over there besides
apple corn. Yeah, some apple corn, some schnapps.
Oh yeah, schnapps.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, happy birthday, Manuel.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
So yeah, look, coming back to Rossi, from this end of the world, I felt a sense of relief more than anything else. Was there an element of that around the paddock as well? Like he's finally made the decision. It's finally the end is now visible.
Yeah, it was interesting. He said, for example, Valentino, he said many things, of course, but one of the things he said was, 2 years I was not ready to quit. Now I live in peace.
Oh, good.
Tranquilo.
I think I
know?
posted something on the weekend. I was reflecting on the amount of riders that quit because they're injured. They quit because they don't have a seat. He is one person that has gone, you know what, it's my time to go, regardless if people think he should have done it ages ago. It has been his choice, and you can do nothing but
he's
respect
ready.
that.
He's ready.
And that's, really good.
Indeed, yeah.
And it's interesting. And he exactly said what we have said so many things here. Look, he feels like a rider, like a competitor. So he won't stop. He won't stop. He has already scheduled. He will race the World Endurance Championship with a Ferrari. He has scheduled 8 races.
Cool.
So, and Valentino, he's a racer, as we have said. He said, "Look, I have been doing this for 26 years, so I can't just stop and start to going to the groceries in the morning."
But
exactly.
he won't stop. It's just a different chapter, right?
Yeah. Here and this year, because the nicest sentence he said was, "In all the sports, what matters is the results. You don't compete for fun." And then, if you are a real racer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't compete for fun if you are a real competitor. If not, you are just
because
a
the
cruiser.
result is the thing that matters.
The result is what why you do it. For the results.
Exactly. Yeah, you race to win. Exactly. That's right. Indeed. So the end of a chapter coming up. The rest of this year is going to be absolutely crazy. Like you say, it's going to be yellow flares absolutely everywhere. I think the other
Stu, let me tell you something that the fans expect that won't happen. Okay, because I had the same. I went through this with another rider, right? A rider who was quitting in the past, who was a top rider in 250. And then he announced that he was racing 3 races before the end of the season. So I, as a fan, I went to him and said, "Wow, now there are just 3 to go. You will give it all." He said, "What?" He said, "Do you think that me seeing where I stop, I'm going to risk that little?"
Yeah, true. Very
There's
true.
all those people hoping for that 200th podium, but we're not going to see it.
No, and everybody
more likely he's going to get lapped.
And I've seen comments on social media too of people going, "Oh, they should just let him win one or give him a different bike," but he would never want that to happen anyway.
No,
like he
no,
would.
And as we saw in Austria, we will see he will be there. He won't risk anything because after 26 years, imagine he gets hurt, would be absurd. And he thinks the same.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
People
exactly.
don't expect that we will see like the Phoenix, coming out and finishing his career. No,
it's not a Disney movie. It's just real life.
Exactly. It will be a soft landing, a very soft landing.
Yeah. Indeed,
and bloody good on him. I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah, indeed. It's a great way, very respectful way to let a champion go. He's done more for the sport than most other people ever have, realistically. So good on him. And yeah, from all of us here, what an incredible career, and thank you for hours and hours of entertainment, which is what it comes down to in the end.
Yeah,
indeed. Yep. And look, the other big news out of the weekend, and again, talking about sense of relief, we finally got closure on the Raul Fernandez KTM will he won't he episode as well. So they've finally made the announcement, but it seems like they kind of messed up their timing a little bit with some of their other riders. So what do you? I assume you were in the media pack. What can you tell us about the about the Raul
this has
announcement?
It has been like a thriller, with some spy episodes that has been fantastic. Let me explain exactly what happened. Okay, when we went before the summer stop, remember that there had been talks between that Yamaha wanted to hire Raul, right?
Yep.
So at that point, KTM went to the Carmelo Espeleta, the CEO of the championship.
The guy in the lederhosen on the weekend.
Exactly, lederhosen.
Yep. Lederhosen man, and they said hands off.
And exactly, he told Yamaha in that meeting. Attention was Lynn Jarvis, Razlan Razali, Pete Byder, Carmelo, and probably someone else. And Carmelo, they kind of reached a gentleman agreement. This kind of agreement imposed by the boss.
Saying, gentleman agreement.
Okay, okay. Saying, look, when a rider is on the contract, not in the last year of his riding path, he has a contract for next season. We please don't try to get him, because if not, it gets a mess. Do we agree? Yes, we agree. Then when this happened, we heard before the summer break as well, Raul saying that 99% he would race in Moto2.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yep.
And also said, I will discuss this with KTM during the summer break. But 99%, I will continue Moto2. So
he was saying he didn't feel like he was ready to move up to Moto3. That was what he was saying. Yeah.
So as I told you, how many times did I tell you don't believe what riders say? Okay.
I think we put drinks on that.
July 13th, there was a meeting in Austria, and Raul signed the contract for getting up in MotoGP with Tectora team.
Yep.
July 13th.
And okay, I've got a lot of questions about that, but go on.
And I tell you more. They did already the pictures. Raul signing, the typical picture with Hervé Poncharal.
Wow.
And they decided to make it official just in mid-August. I imagine between the two Austrian races.
And somewhere in between, they also forgot to tell Danilo Petrucci.
No, hang on. This was this thing to happen. And obviously Petrucci and Iker would have been told about it, because they deserve it, okay? Because there was one place left, and then now come the spy episode. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun,
So,
dun, dun, dun.
so a KTM guy discovered by just casualidad, just
by accident, casually.
By accident.
Yep.
He saw in a restaurant near the circuit on Thursday, Raul Fernandez's manager having a dinner with Razlan Razali.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
they KTM went to KTM. KTM said, what? Okay. Yep. So what did they do? Immediately, bang, they banged the contract. So it was open. They closed any chance. They made it official.
Is it true? Because I think I can't remember who it was now, said that they had to make it official because these guys were still hounding him. Whoops.
They make it official because Yamaha had.
So they'd broken this gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, the agreement was not so gentle as it seemed to be. Yeah. So, and I can imagine, and this is just imagination, in the KTM contract, Raul had, there was a clause that said, if he got an offer for a factory team to go to MotoGP, he could go free. So KTM saw what was happening in the restaurant, immediately, bang, he has already an offer for a KTM factory team. So they blocked it.
But they obviously already had a contract in place, so that wouldn't have mattered. Or did they do it to take the pressure off Raul because all these people were still hounding him? Because if the contract was signed on the 13th
the contract
of July...
was a block passing on Yamaha's tries.
Block pass.
Oh, Roger. Oh.
Nice.
So what about Raul? Because I heard Simon Crafer say on the TV that he asked Raul, God, I can't talk today. It's been a big day. Asked Raul if he was happy where he's going to be next year, and he said no.
No, Raul said a sentence that let everybody reflecting. Like, I won't be next year where I wanted to be. Yeah. Okay, you can read this two ways, in Moto2 or in Yamaha.
Well,
I
you
feel
could
like he got
also
his
read it
hand
like
forced.
he said he wanted to stay in Moto2 for another year because he wanted to
Yes.
consolidate. So you think about that. So he's going to be in the Tech Trois team. So are you where you want to be? No, because I want to be in Moto2. Or if he's going to go to MotoGP, if he wants to go to MotoGP, he wants to be in a competitive team. Is the Tech Trois team going to be a competitive team? Probably
it
not.
will.
So he
Wouldn't
doesn't
it?
want to be there either. Well, look at
Or
what
would you prefer to have to be next year in Yamaha?
exactly.
I wouldn't.
That's it. So he's not going to be on a competitive bike in MotoGP, and he's not going to have the comfort of still being highly competitive in Moto2. So he's stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
This has been basically the rider here has been how do you say
His hand was forced.
Yeah, arm wrestle.
An arm wrestle between Yamaha and KTM.
So
and I know that
I just want to bring up as well at this point. I really hope we don't, because if you think a couple of years ago, you look at Iker Lecuona, he was not quite to the same point as Raul Fernandez, but he was a rising star. He was having some great results. He was doing really good. Everyone was talking about big things for him, and he came up to MotoGP too early on a non-competitive bike. And now he's stuck. He's 19 years old or however old, and he's got no ride for next year. No one knows what's going on with him. So I really hope they don't mess up.
I'm hoping because he's so young that they'll take Iker and still develop him somehow. But so does Raul far out? Does Raul absolutely
call him Jim? Call him
Raul.
Adrian's big brother. Does he not? Did he not have a say at all to go? No, I want to stay here. He obviously had his hand forced. He didn't have.
No, because he was negotiating on the back of KTM with Yamaha, and KTM if he got an offer with Yamaha, or if he got an agreement with Yamaha, which I think was very close, the only way to avoid KTM getting him still was giving him a ride in MotoGP. So the question now is, how good, or can really a team or a factory make somebody race with a bike he doesn't want? It's like in any other sport. Can you force a football player playing the team he doesn't want?
Exactly.
It's a 1 year contract, isn't it? 1 year contract,
1 or 2, or I don't know.
It would make sense if it's a 1 year contract. So from the sounds of it, what you guys have been saying, at the end of next year, it's like open field for
open season.
Everyone to. So if he can go and still perform, he doesn't have to be major standout. He's still got a good opportunity to get a great bike for 2023.
I think that KTM has him very well timed
by the kahunas.
Yeah, exactly. By the cojones. Exactly.
Is that Spanish?
Cojones,
Cajun, as you said it, it's for me more of these fishers that are in Louisiana, the Cajuns.
Cojones.
I didn't even know I knew any Spanish. Look at me go. So can we just talk about poor Danilo and Iker? I think it was at Hervé Poncho blah blah said on TV interview that he was very frustrated and angry that he didn't have the opportunity to speak to them before the announcement come out, which made me think that they had no idea, but they obviously had an idea. We all knew this was coming.
Exactly. Which when Manuel, when you say July the 13th, I straight away go, well, that's bullshit. Because they've known since July the 13th. Why haven't you gone and spoken to those other guys? Clearly.
They knew.
Because the agreement or what they had decided is to do it between races. But KTM was just jumped into the pond without telling anybody. And it was frustrating because this release came out as they were on track in FP4.
Yeah.
So when Danilo stopped, somebody told me, you are fired. And then Danilo said, well, I don't know what is happening with me. I was fired from Ducati before starting the season. I am fired from KTM in the middle of the season, in the middle of a practice session. What the hell is happening with me? Does anyone respects me?
Crazy.
So is he going to World Superbikes?
I don't know.
Who knows? I think they're both up in the air at the moment. Iker and Danilo, aren't they?
Yeah. They are. They obviously are working on them, but I think that Danilo now it's not his biggest concern. He's basically very upset, right?
Yeah.
And so for Ika Manuel, and because I've heard of like Sam Lowe's and Happy Siren went up and come back. Do you think that Ika will now just drift off into wherever, or do you think because of his young age and he's shown potential in the past, is someone going to snap him up in Moto2, or what do you think is going to happen with him?
Look, in Moto2 could be a chance, but at a certain point, I thought that he would somehow go to a Chiaggio team in Moto2 because they are missing a rider. But somebody told me with good sense, he said, look, the Chiaggio team is a team to build up rider to jump into MotoGP.
And they have a plan. They said on the weekend that they were not, I wrote on my notes, Pit Buyer said that they were not ready to talk about what they're doing with the Moto2 seats. And if Acosta wants to go up, of course he can. But if he chooses to stay in Moto3, then there's no rush and he can still get experience.
Yeah, they said the same about Raul Fernandez.
Yeah, no, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and look. Do you see my nose?
Yeah. You can tell they're lying. You know how? Because their mouths are moving. Exactly.
Same as Marquez accidentally bumped a late.
Oh my God! Look, we'll get to the racing in a minute. That's absolutely crazy. So realistically, you're right, Manuel. It's like a spy drama. It's crazy. There's so many moving parts here, and I'm sure we haven't heard the last of it. I'm sure we're going to see more about the movement in the lower classes as well, and what's going to happen to Danilo and Iga. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that one over the next few weeks.
I can tell you, Stu, that the Yamaha faces, Lynn Jarvis' face on Sunday wasn't that of a tranquil person.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Wasn't happy.
He was upset with everything what happened because, it was so confusing. The name of Yamaha came out like not having stick on a gentleman agreement and this and so and that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be crazy over the next few weeks. Look, we need to get to talk about the racing. Before we do, there's just one more thing. We put a pin in it earlier on. You mentioned it. So Malaysia not going ahead, and now we're hearing that Texas might not be either.
Oh, yeah.
How many more rounds of racing do we have?
No Phillip Island.
No Phillip Island. There were 9 races in the calendar before the summer stop.
Yep.
Definitely, there will be just 8. If maximum 8, we can say until Saturday it was Texas was 90% to happen.
Yep.
But on Sunday, a press release from Austin's major came out saying that the situation there has collapsed again. No. So the situation is, look, the world is when we think we are getting out, it bang,
like that.
Start again. Okay, so we can say that if Malaysia doesn't happen, but this probably, then there are 2 options. They can do 2 Misano races.
Ooh.
1 Misano race would be after Texas. So they would do Misano, then they leave all the tracks at the circuit, all the fly to Texas, do the race in Texas, return to Misano when all the infrastructure is ready. That would give the chance in Italy to burn down Italy twice with Valentino's.
That's a dumb question.
Hang on. And if Misano 2 doesn't happen, they will do Jerez before going to Portimao. So these are the 2 options. Misano twice or Jerez before Portimao. Right. And in Misano, look the mess. They were at the beginning, they expected to sell 6,500 tickets. They have increased it to 25,000. But I think they have to, with Valentino's goodbye, they should pull the National Guard around Misano and block the city. Because
there's going to be 100,000 people there, easy.
Stu, they are going to assault the circuit. I am absolutely, the Pentagon story will be nothing. No, the Capitol story.
The Capitol. Yeah, that's right.
Will be nothing compared with what will happen in Misano.
And then everyone can go into lockdown.
It's
a super spreader event.
Yeah, you know what? They've got to. It's got to happen. I was going to ask a question, which I'm sorry because it's a bit off track. But when the paddock travels overseas, because as we see at the track, they have their big trucks and their motorhomes and all their stuff. Do they just hire all that in a different country? They obviously fly their bikes and equipment and everything, but how do they do it not in Europe?
for the flyaway rounds.
No, but the track are parked somewhere. Or the drive.
So what do they do? They leave the trucks in Europe and they fly the bikes and the bits overseas.
All the equipment, and they get new trucks over there. They hire trucks and they just get them all painted to look like their trucks.
Oh, so they do actually? Do they really?
No. It's not like this.
Don't tell me I'll believe anything you say right now.
Easy. What they do, they put all the equipment they need into containers. The containers fly to the places
and just send them over.
There is a company that transport the containers from the plane to the
and obviously
truck.
quickly.
Yeah, they can do it in a week. And then they just build up the boxes. In this case, and they have no hospitalities. They have no trucks.
Okay.
The riders sleep in hotels. And they have basically some boxes where they have a private place to stay. So in Europe, the championship has 3,000 people. Out of Europe, 1,500.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skeleton crew.
Speaking of trucks, anyone that follows us on Instagram, actually, I don't know if I put it on the story or a post, but you know when you watch a MotoGP and you're waiting for everything to start, and they show just a clip of it's kind of all the trucks all lined up and just the track in the background. We were watching it just as it come on, and a dude came out of the Honda Asia truck, and he went. And then he ran back inside again. It was so good. But you could tell he'd come out first and looked and come back in. It's like someone's going, go on, go do it. And he walked out.
Dare you.
It was so good.
Well, he was waving to the Pecino report. Of course he was.
He was, totally.
So there we go. So we may have somewhere between 5 and 8 or 9 rounds after Austria. Who knows? Let's keep an eye on that and keep us informed as you hear more, Manuel, for how many races we can expect. Indeed. Right. Let's get to the racing. Oh, wow.
Finally.
Where do you start? We're
out of time. Okay, bye. No. Yeah, geez, what a race. Oh, my God. Let's start with MotoGP. The obvious thing, that the incident. Andra has clearly expressed her opinion on that. It's not the track. I'm on the fence about that.
Don't be on the fence. Make a decision.
I think the track has an element.
Don't be a chicken. Don't be a chicken.
I think the track has an element of why there is so many incidents on that same corner. I think that it is the track. I think it's the fact that you've got
Maverick's bike.
You've got this massive long straight coming into this corner. You're going 300 and something kilometers an hour into what is basically a hairpin. It's uphill. It's off camber. You've got the barricades come all the way across, so it's blind going through it as well. There's so many safety issues there, and they've increased the size of the barricade, so it's even more blind.
Yep.
So realistically, when Danny came off, it was weird. It was on the exit of the corner, so he's after the blind corner. All those other riders have come around, so it's even worse. And then Paul Lorenzo Savadori came around there, not expecting any of that, and wallop. So I do think there is an element of track safety in there. That's just
although I must say that from historically what I saw last year, and I think it was it turn 1 where Remy had his bad accident a few years back. Again, being another blind spot. Was it Happy Siren in Moto 2 last year? He hit someone's bike and
true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they can't see it. So that I would agree with.
Exactly. What do you think, Manuel? Come on. We both got off the fence. You tell me.
Which side of the fence, Manuel, and which part?
First of all, this is a car track, right?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, it's a car track. Yep.
How do the cars go with that extended barrier on turn 3?
Fine. And this is the thing. I had this conversation today. The dynamics in Formula One and car racing are completely different to bike racing. Completely different.
I mean, because cars are boring.
Well, that's a bad line, Andrew. You have to be cut off. Yeah. So,
well, I don't know. I to watch, I like that circuit because it makes interesting racing and it's accelerating and it's good.
Not arguing with that.
If I have to stick on what the riders hate it, and the riders insist that it's not safe, insist that it's not a bike track. So if they say it must be something, because they are never unanimous, but in this case, all of them have the same opinion.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But the number one, the blind corner is, wow. it's you have to change the whole circuit to avoid that.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yep.
it's super blind and there is no time for the flags or to warning that there is a guy just down exiting the corner. It's impossible
Exactly.
to avoid it.
Yeah, exactly. But the big thing is, obviously, there is a massive giant bull in the middle of the track for a reason. Money talks. Red Bull are
Oh.
massive sponsors of everything to do with MotoGP, and money talks. So it is very unlikely that that track's going to get taken off the calendar.
And no, I likely forget it. And they are doing 2 races, not 1. So-
Yeah, exactly. Even worse. We're back there again this weekend. Yeah.
And I tell you something, now I'm doing my words, mine, the words of Aleix, saying, look, if in 3 races they have been red flagged 3 times, there is a problem.
Yeah, clearly. Exactly. That's exactly right. So, look, let's talk about the race. Obviously, the thing that sticks out for me and everybody else will be he's come from the skies, absolutely out of nowhere, Jorge Martin. Like we saw at the beginning of the season, we saw the flashes of brilliance. You spoke about that in some of the earlier episodes this year. And you also spoke about how he's potentially a bit hot-headed and he might just go too hard now and again, hence his incident. But it looks like he kept it all together. And he is showing that he is a force to be reckoned with, isn't he?
Wow. Look, this has been race number 6 for Jorge Martin because he missed 3 races, right? Okay. The first race in Qatar, he more or less, it was his first contact with any crash. Remember that he was super fast and he crashed.
To say the ground.
Yeah.
First contact with the ground.
I was out that night. I still remember I was out in the city on the piss, and I got a message. So I'm sitting in this bar trying to look at the video, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Go away! Something's happened." Trying to see what happened.
I was sending you that video, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm like, "Stu, please find it. I need to see what's going on."
Yeah.
And
then, so after this first experience, he immediately seemed to learn because he did the pole in the second experience and made second in the second race in MotoGP.
Yep.
Okay. Then in the third race, he had that horrible crash in Portugal. He broke 8 bones. So he didn't break just one finger or, you know, a nail. He lost one nail. He broke 8
But what
bones.
didn't he break? Yeah, exactly.
So then it took him 3 races to recover. And when he came back, he was obviously not 100% fit.
Yeah.
So as soon as he got fit with the summer break, 5-week summer break, look what he has performed. Wow.
Yeah, indeed.
It's true that it has been the best scenario for him and Ducati. It's true that by being small as he is, because he's super small, he's
smaller than Danny.
A little bit taller,
Only
but
a tiny
this
bit.
much.
Okay.
And him accelerating up the hill on the Ducati with this
being so
short
light.
weight.
Yeah.
Yes, he was like a rocket. He did he took the maximum out of what he had in advantage, but then he rode fantastic. Look, if you watch the races, the Suzuki, Mir's Suzuki that was riding in his back, the T3 on the track, the sector 3 was the sector where the Suzuki had an advantage and should have get closed and overtaken.
Yeah.
But Martin was able to neutralize this advantage of the Suzuki sector 3. So he let Joan win without any weapon. You know, no cards to play, no cards to play. So he did a race 10 out of 10 with cum laude, like they say in Italian.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely amazing ride. And you touched on Mir there as well. We spoke about him last week to say, hey, look out, because he's going to be really good. And this weekend was the first weekend that Suzuki have had their squat device. And boy, didn't he make the most out of it.
Yeah, he was great. I like to see the champion being a real champion.
Yeah, exactly.
And once again, look, the difference of Mir, for example, with Jack Miller.
Yep.
Mir, he was trying, but at a certain point, he admitted, I said, okay, I can't. I get, you know, it's good enough.
Yep.
He's second. There's no sense to lose 20 points. To try to give to get 5 more. Jack instead did exactly the opposite.
Silly
He's
boy.
like, he's like, hold my beer. I'm going for this.
Yeah, hold
Like,
my beer.
Exactly, hold my beer. And look what instead of getting 13 points, he got 0.
Yeah.
Yep. He put the 3rd position on the podium here. Quartararo. This is for you.
Gave
A
it to
present.
him.
He gave him a present.
Exactly. I saw Gigi's face as well when that happened, and he was not happy.
Look, I tell you something that from the outside the fans don't realize, and you have to think about it. There is a massive group of person working for Jack during the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They spent thousands of euros, dollars, engineers, and then he throws it away. Okay, racing is about, there is always the danger, but a mature rider has to understand that it's a point, okay.
You got to push, but you can't, but there's no point going over the line because then you got nothing.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, you've got to know where the limit is. Exactly.
Exactly. The difference you see so clear in the Suzuki team. Does Mir do any mistake in this point? No. And what does the other one? Rins. He crashes and crashes.
Rins, hey, he didn't fall off this week, did he?
Yeah.
Finally.
Finally. Yeah, exactly. No. Brilliant. And the other one, I spoke about him last week and I said, look out. And sure enough, Brad Bender gave a great performance in that race.
And you'd be happy.
I was really surprised that we didn't see more from KTM, clearly. But Brad Bender kind of held his head up there, didn't he?
It was the last corner. It was that last half a lap that he overtook Taka and Zarco.
And Zarco, yeah.
Beautiful.
Wow. Look, it seems that KTM had a problem here because the front tire Michelin brought to that race was not hard enough to handle the braking of the KTM.
Mm-hmm.
Hard enough, look, I try to, hard enough means when there is a braking, the tire, if it's soft, the tire, instead of having a round format, it starts to get flat, because of the pressure. There is so much pressure that the shape of the tire with the contact with the asphalt gets flat.
Mm-hmm.
By being flat, the moment from straight to turning, you are turning on a flat surface.
Yeah, it's like a 50-cent coin for Australia. Yeah,
exactly.
Or like what's the euro coin? Which is the euro coin that's got the flat?
20 cents.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the problem, because if the tire is strong enough to keep the shape while it's braking, then the transition is like flipping.
No,
you know?
Yeah.
It's like bang.
Yep.
Instead, the other way is like you have to go off a plane, and then get into the corner. And this seems to has been a problem. Okay, for all KTMs. But then, for example, Pedrosa, who is so light, didn't have that problem because he's a fly on a bike.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it was a little bit wet. Was that not have cooled it down at all? It doesn't make a difference.
No.
Okay.
No. And then regarding Binder, it's fantastic. How many times did we say here? And when I hear him, I say, wow, we are the challenge of this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did we say the difference between Oliveira and Binder? Oliveira, someone who builds up, brick by brick, while Binder is more, he tries to push a rabbit out of the...
Exactly. Of the hat.
Of the head.
Exactly,
I felt for Miguel.
During the weekend, at a certain point, he was not doing well, Binder.
Mm.
And then he said, well, I have decided to be myself because I have been too much looking at the data and questioning, how should I do this? Then he said, I have to be myself, maybe less data and more natural riding.
Yep. And look what he did.
Exactly.
Was it fourth? Finished fourth.
Yeah, incredible. And do you think a lot of that is down to his engineer? Do you think maybe he needs to find an engineer that can manage the data for him and just give him the information he needs just so he can focus on riding the bike? Because a lot of riders are different. Some riders love the data. Some riders just want to know that they have the confidence to ride the bike.
Yes, but it's all about down to confidence. He saw that in the first so far in this season, Oliveira was doing much better than him. So and then a rider, what does he do? He looks to the other side of the box. He says, he's doing better.
Yep.
Let me try to follow his way because he's doing better than me. But what has happened with Binder, he has lost his riding personality, trying to be a South African Oliveira. And it didn't work. So he went back to being Brad Binder.
Ride the Binder way.
And not Brand Oliveira.
Yeah. So on Oliveira, I felt for him. Obviously, last week I called it for him for the win, and he was doing so well, but he fell off and hurt his hand in free practice.
His rubbery finished there. Yes.
And then he stopped in the race, and I thought it was because he was in pain, but it was his tire.
Yeah.
As you mentioned.
Chunk out of it. Yeah. Was that chunk because he went through the fire and it's melted, or is it a tire defect?
It can be two things. Michelin will say that the setup of the front was not correct.
Right.
And the rider will say that it was a piece of black shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
So basically, I think that a tire, look, this can happen to a tire, even if the setup is the worst in the world, because this really put his life in danger.
Do they? Because obviously they make the tires as perfect as possible, but there's going to be defects. Unfortunately, is that probably what this was? Yeah.
Look, you know that all these tires are handmade. There is no machinery to do racing tires. And everything that is handmade, the possibility to have a problem, although I have to say that racing tires are checked, rechecked, over rechecked, but there is always in any kind of
imbalance or some kind of
but in any kind of thing there is always the option of a certain percentage you have to consider that it will fail. Yeah,
exactly. So I know in F1 when they race 2 weeks at the same track, they change the tire compounds, so they might have had softer tires last week, this next week they'll have harder tires. Are they doing the same thing in MotoGP this weekend at the same track, or is it just same tires?
That happened some years ago, but the factories, they demanded from the tire maker, they know at the beginning of the season, every tire they will get till the end of the season. Why do they do this? Because in the past, when it was different, the way you just said, the engineers complained that they have on each Grand Prix, instead of getting the speed, they had to adapt the bike to the new tires instead of racing.
Poor thing. They should adapt to the new tires.
So
now they say that, okay, we know the tires that are coming. We know the setup from the previous year with the same tire, so we can race.
I just want to see KTM go well.
I have a joke to make.
Go on.
Was it bad tires that made Maverick's bike stall when he went to? Was that the tires' fault?
Oh, what a goose.
We went
What a goose.
Did you realize that last episode we did not mention him once? I got a couple of messages from people going, you did not mention Maverick at all.
I think there was a reason for that.
We knew.
I thought that the planets had aligned and I put him in my dream team and I'm he
had a good qualifying. Well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
And then as they were going out to do their warm-up lap, and I thought when he had to go from pit lane and then he went to go, they're already halfway around the track. I was like, he's going to go and they're going to start the race before he's even there. But then they stopped him.
Yep, stopped him at the line. Yeah, he obviously thought he could go round and go to the back of the grid, but then they stopped him at the line.
They wouldn't have held them that long anyway, would they? Like I think we saw that happen.
No, they wouldn't have held him.
Was it with Anaya that time or someone?
Look, the thing with Maverick is, I don't know. It seems that everything happens to him.
Yeah.
But
you make your own luck, seriously.
He looked so happy this weekend. He was just smiling.
Yeah, because he has his wife and his children in the motorhome, and he's uploading photos during the weekend with the child. Hang on, you are on racing mode. But look, Sunday happened something very strange with Maverick. After the race that was red flag, he entered in the garage and they changed the whole clutch, Stu.
Really?
What?
The others just changed tire. Maverick got his clutch changed.
Changed the clutch and then went to the grid and stalled it.
So I asked him, why did you change the clutch? He said, well, the engineer have realized that as I am not good in starting, every start I overheat the clutch.
Right.
So there was a big chance. So was the big chance that in the second start, his clutch would not work properly. So they changed the clutch.
Okay.
And being a new clutch, he arrived at the grid. He just released the lever and the engine went off. And then not only this, then I asked him, why did you know that he entered in the pits in the last lap? He didn't cross the line. He entered into the pits.
Really?
Why?
Yes. And then he got flagged in the pits.
Why?
So I thought,
oh my God.
I really thought, I thought when I saw that, I thought that he had done this not to be the last of the race again.
He'd rather have a DNF.
Chucked his dummy out. He chucked his dummy out the cot.
But he got flagged normal. And then I asked him as well, why did you get into the pit lane? He said, well, my dashboard was not working. And my dashboard was telling me, enter the pit lane. He said, this is what I did. And then he said to me, and I tell you something more. I had to do a long lap penalty.
Really?
Yeah. And
didn't even notice.
Yeah, he said to me.
He got a track limit warning, but I don't remember him.
No, at the end, he had to do a long lap. And he said, and it didn't even appear on my dashboard. So he said to me, the dashboard was completely.
Was he meant to do one then? Maybe he wasn't meant to do. Has he posted any pictures of broccoli along with his?
I don't know.
I think so. I think he has.
He needs something stronger than broccoli to get out.
He does indeed. And then you have a look on the other side of the garage. Fabio Quartararo had an amazing weekend. Like seriously,
mature racing.
So mature, wonderful. Everyone's it's not a Yamaha track. It's no good whatsoever. Qualifies amazingly. Podium. Nobody finished in front. Well, Joan Mir finished in front of him. Is he really a threat in the championship? Who knows? All the other guys that are around him in the championship, nobody's in front of him. What an incredible race.
I was intrigued too. I think it was FP1 when he kept missing turn 3. He kept going wide on turn 3 over and over. But he obviously pulled that in and
he did the best result he could do. The podium for him in Austria too was fantastic.
Yep. I did say last week, I said a podium would be like a win, didn't I? Indeed.
He did. I'm just here to even out the conversation here. He did also, when they were doing their flag to flag practice, he did pull into the wrong bay again.
I didn't see that.
The guy's sitting there waving at him like this way. And he's like, no.
Oh my God, unbelievable! All right, it's almost time to wrap up. Before we do, we've got to talk about Danny. We've got to talk about. Hang on, before I go any further, this guy here, where is he? He's around here somewhere. Here we go. This guy's on fire. We've got to talk about that guy. What a weekend. To come back after how long? 2.5 years or something?
Yeah, over 3 seasons. Yeah.
3 seasons. Have such an amazing ride. Fair enough, the first one didn't go quite so well. But then even after this, to get back on the bike and have such a mature ride. Absolutely fantastic.
Finished 10th.
Yeah.
In the last part of the season of the race, if you go through the numbers, he was the 3rd fastest guy on the track.
Unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. Because we talked about it last week. Just that he's obviously been riding the bike, but not in that competitive, having everyone else around him, and it's like he hadn't even had a break.
Yeah. Right? Can you imagine a guy who is just returning for the one race after having a fantastic life for 3 years, and he crashes? He said, for the first time in my life, I was in the middle of the track and the bikes were passing right and left.
Imagine what was going through his head then.
And
yeah.
then he organized that barbecue when Salvadori, remember he's Lorenzo, never mention Lorenzo Salvadori, just say Salvadori.
He organized the barbecue for him.
Organized
How nice of him.
organized that barbecue for him. And then look, before starting, I have told you, I asked him because I could imagine him thinking with all this fire, the other guy lying at the floor, almost yelling like if he has been shot. He was thinking, what the damn am I doing here? You know?
Exactly.
And I asked him, Daddy, because if I were you, I was thinking, what I'm doing here? What for?
I wouldn't have been surprised if he went, "No, you can jam it. I'm not going back."
Yeah. In the press room, we were laughing. We were saying, he won't get out again. He won't get out again.
He'll be like, "No, thanks, I'm done." I mean, even you look at that picture behind Stu, and it's there's
face.
there was so much fire.
And his look is like
shit.
He's looking at the door.
Yeah.
To escape from out of the circuit.
Where's the golf cart? I've got to get out of here.
God, his family must have had a bloody heart attack watching.
Yeah,
him.
and he told me that he said, look, I didn't thought it about me. I thought about my family that probably at home they were thinking, what the hell are you doing there? Why are you at the beach with us at this moment? You know?
Exactly.
But then he went out. Look, he went out in the second race, and he must kind of have been nervous because he forgot to activate the start system.
Really?
Oh, oops.
So that's why he started so bad.
Poorly. Okay.
No, he got to restart.
Then he said, okay, this was the second. So he said, I got a little bit nervous, but then at a certain point, I got into my pace.
Yep. Head down, get the rhythm going.
And then he was honest. He said, okay, then there was one doing long lap penalty, the other one crashing, and me, bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
And he finished 1 second behind Alex Marquez, 1.1 behind Mark Marquez.
Mark Marquez, yep.
And Bagnaia was also in front of him. So he told me, look, maybe with 2 other laps, I would have got the three.
Absolutely. I know we're trying to wrap it up, but can we please just talk about Alicia Mark Marquez? Because I thought Alicia was going to get off the bike and punch him in the face.
How did he not punch Mark Marquez? Oh my God.
Not
that
once,
really annoyed
but
me.
twice.
Fair enough. The second one might have been.
He got a bit of a bump from Fabio, I think it was. But
still.
The first one was to red flag Mark. But look, Aleix after the race said, look, I don't even get upset anymore with Mark because
he wasn't, was he?
The way Mark he said, and then he said something interesting. Look, what we are doing wrong here, we punish the consequence of a maneuver. When we have to punish the maneuver itself.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Which
you
is
know,
what Formula One has done. Actually, Formula One is in trouble for doing the opposite. People are jumping up and down because an event happens that has a bad consequence, but the event itself wasn't that bad. And so they've only given it a small punishment. Whereas here, it's the opposite. So you can't win.
No. And here it seems that you have to get somebody hurt to take a decision.
But that's,
So
I know
if nobody gets hurt, nothing. It's not a fault if nobody gets hurt.
Because we spoke about this, I think, a few episodes ago with race direction. We saw Brad Binder cop a lot of the, being made an example of when they were doing. And again, no one was hurt in those situations. But I can't comprehend that they sit there, saw that, and just ignore it.
A lack of consistency again.
Look, if Iker Lecuona would have done this, he would have got the penalty. We have to have
because it's Mark Marquez.
It's Mark Marquez.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Posting his topless t-shirt, shots on the lounge. Bloody
crazy.
I wanted to say one more thing.
Go on.
I know we're not talking about Moto 2 and Moto 3, but I have to mention Darren Bender. Oh, I know, Manuel. I know it's boring for you. I love when we make Manuel talk about it, though. I know every time we watch Darren Bender, and I know we've spoken to him, but I just feel like he's not dominating Moto 3, but I feel like he's outgrown it, and he is riding his ass off every single week. And I just pray to, what's a Spanish god? or I don't know, but I'm hoping he gets an opportunity in a higher grade next
Oh,
year.
Moto 2. He's got to go to
Bloody
Moto 2
hell.
just to show what he can actually do.
Yeah,
I see Darren Bender in Moto 3 is the same problem as Remy in Moto 2. So Darren Bender in Moto 3 is the same as Remy in Moto 2. He's suffering because he's too big for the bike.
He's huge for the bike.
Yeah.
And he's been there, is it 7 years he's rode in Moto 3?
Like
yeah,
and
he has shown all what he's capable already. He won't do any better because he's growing,
Yep.
getting stronger. That means more weight. There is no alternative. Staying where he is, he won't do better because there are every time smaller riders.
Exactly,
and it's a whole different race, as we've spoken about. And just very quickly, poor Joe Roberts, that was his third DNF. He's just can't stay on the bike.
Silly boy. Oh well. And and Remy had a little bit of a stuff up that cost him the win.
Because his dad was watching. I'd be nervous if my dad was watching too.
Yeah, that's right. But he still had a good ride. So yeah. Anyway, before we do wrap up, Manuel, any final thoughts from you?
No, I am looking forward to see what will happen in a few days when we start again. Obviously, the ones who did bad have the opportunity to erase what they have done, and the one who did well want to repeat. So it will be quite interesting. For example, Jack has to perform something.
Yeah,
that's absolutely clear. Jack comes from Assen 0, Austria 0. So his credit has finished.
Oh yeah,
he has no credit anymore.
Yep, exactly.
Do you think we're going to see similar results, or do you think it is going to be quite different this weekend?
No, things will change. Look, another funny thing. I don't know how many Italians are in MotoGP. The best of them, 9th position.
Oh well, they won a heap of stuff at the Olympics. They won the soccer. They need to they won Eurovision.
Yeah.
They just need to take
my Italian colleagues, my Italian colleague of the newspaper, they were saved by a Ducati winning the race. So they could write about something. Ducati, Italy won, But if not, what are they going to write to write? So they have a problem. Instead, us Spaniards, we have a guy called Pedro Acosta in Moto3, a guy called Raul Fernandez.
Is he from Madrid?
Raul, yes, and Jorge Martin as well in MotoGP. So we have 3 guys, super young and super promising.
Yeah, and a young guy who may be the world champion in Joan Mir as well. Like, just putting it out there. Well, crazy, isn't it? For me, I think we're going to see more from KTM this week. KTM learn quickly. They are very fast learners. They are not going to make the same mistakes this weekend. You're going to see them figure out a way to compensate for that hard tire this weekend. And we're going to see better results from them, I think.
Is Miguel still injured then, or is he okay?
Yeah, he's still not 100%.
No, not at all. Because he said that after every practice, he had to put on a cast.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm not putting him in my fantasy team. Poor Jillian messaged me. She forgot to put Jorge in her dream team, and then he won.
Well, silly person. You'll learn next time. Well. Right. So look, that's it from us. Before we go, Andra, have you got some messages for the viewers and listeners out there?
I do. Quick shout out for Max, LD, Fabiano, and Sean Henry. And please, I want to hear from everyone what your thoughts are on the track. Is it the track that's dangerous or
definitely
not?
Let us know. Indeed. All right. So there you go. You heard it there, ladies and gentlemen. Manuel, go on.
Let me check the weather forecast for Sunday here.
Oh, yes.
Although it changes every 2 minutes.
I am sick. I'm sick and tired of listening to what are the names? Steve and Matt, the commentators, tell us about how Styria is a microclimate. Oh my god! If I hear you talk about a microclimate once more,
what's a microclimate? Is that like Australian Victorian weather where you have all the seasons in one day?
Probably, yeah.
Well, Simon Patterson posted the night before that there was talk that they would move the race to Monday because it was meant to be torrential rain or something.
Yeah, you know that Simon, my friend Simon, he lives in a van, right? Mm-hmm. He follows the championship in a van. Yep. I think that day he ate some broccolis.
Yeah, I think he might have done indeed. So what's the weather forecast say, Manuel?
Well, weather forecast is Friday 80%.
Rain.
Thunderstorms. Saturday 80% with thunderstorm.
Rain.
And Sunday 60% with thunderstorm. So sunny day the weekend.
Yeah, beautiful.
Because-
So it's going to be 35
because-
degrees every day.
No, because I tell you something. There is a microclimate.
What's a microclimate? I've never heard that phrase before.
There's our podcast title.
The microclimates of Austria. Oh my God, wonderful. All right,
Oh my
look,
God.
ladies and gentlemen,
Okay.
it's been absolutely wonderful. This is another episode of the Pecino Report. Thank you so much for listening and viewing. Make sure you get on the socials, follow the Pecino Report on the socials, head over to Pecino GP and go and check out all the new content.
All the Rossi articles.
All the Rossi articles, indeed. Make sure you like us, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you again in a week after another one of these in Austria. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Adios. Wiener Schnitzel.